So I'm here with Ryan Dohrn, probably the foremost expert on online revenue, especially for media and publishing companies. What do publishers need to know when it comes to generating online revenue? Because I'm still getting phone calls from folks who are telling me that they're not generating any significant revenue online, and I know for a fact with the many other clients that we have that it is a major part of the revenue mix for them. So for those folks who have never really started generating revenue online, what do they need to know?
Well, first, it's really it is making things simple. All too often, publishers will create sort of a scenario that overcomplicates things. And so for me, it's really, I've tried to break it down into four basic components, which really is product and people, having the right price, but then also having a process for everything. So trying to keep it really simple is very, very important.
So starting with that first component, what do people need to know, about, I guess, designing product or the product mix? I mean, as I said, we're starting at the basics.
Sure,
What's
sure.
that mean?
Well, first of all, come up with an identity. I know who are you online, or who do you want to be online? All too often, I see that people will just take their magazine and they will just dump it onto the web, and then they call us and they say, Mark or Ryan, hey, we're just not making any money. Well, no kidding. You have to really own your niche, know your niche, own your niche. And I try to tell people very often, you want to make sure that you're putting things online that people can't find anywhere else. And so don't be generic, be very specific. The more specific you are, the more money you can charge. And that's something that is universal in almost any commodity that you're trying to sell online.
And what about the second component?
Well, I mean, Jim Collins in his book Good to Great really talks specifically about having the right people on the bus. And it doesn't necessarily mean new people. A lot of times publishers think, oh, I can't afford to do this because I need new editors and I need new production people. And quite honestly, that's not true. I have found that if you can get your people on board and help them really embrace this sort of digital forward or digital forward thinking enterprise, that the people you currently have can be very, very powerful. I just don't think they actually understand how powerful they can be. And so that can be some consulting, it can be sending people to classes. People love to learn. So I would really embrace the current people you have, but then also the philosophy of hiring slow and firing fast. If you can't get people on board, they don't want to be a part of the process, then quite honestly, you need to find some folks that will.
And then I guess there's also the overall mix of where digital fits into the product mix.
Sure.
And things like pricing. What do publishers kind of need to know as like a high level overview?
Sure. Isn't it interesting that very often we'll have more online readers than we'll have readers of our print product, yet we charge pennies for the online product. So I think it really is more of my porridge is too hot, my porridge is not quite warm enough. It's kind of trying to find that gentle mix between the two. But what I have noticed is that very often the online products are priced so cheaply, it's no wonder that people don't get excited because they think that they're worthless. It also kills us long term because as we start to basically move to a more digital enterprise, if we haven't been charging accordingly, it's going to be difficult for us to maintain the revenue that we need to maintain to make money and pay our people and things like that.
Well, and I'm sure you'll go into this in more detail in subsequent videos, but it's typically everything that you do has to kind of be assigned almost as profit centers, right?
Right.
You have to say, okay, it costs me this much to produce,
Yeah.
and I need to make sure that I'm getting a return on that. And so it's probably more of, in terms of overall product mix and how you price it, a matter of properly selling it, right?
Indeed. And every single enterprise is different. And you can't say, well, because our magazine is about lawyers, we charge more, or because our magazine is about landscapers, we charge less. It really is about who is the audience and how much is that audience actually worth. Because most of you that are watching this video, you've spent millions of dollars building your enterprise. So there needs to be a price tag attached to it. And don't apologize, for the price. Sell it.
And is that then also what you mean by process? I mean, can you give us that high level overview? Because I know we're going to go into much greater detail in subsequent episodes.
Sure. Very often what I find is that there is no process. It's very random. It's sort of a kind of a willy-nilly kind of process. So it really comes down to how are you selling it? What's the sales process? What's the production process? What are we putting online? How are we putting it online? Is it date specific, time specific? And from a sales process, are we prospecting correctly to get our advertisers excited about it? In terms of what we're putting online, how is it going online? Is it going online in such a way that advertisers will like to see it and will enjoy it? Or is it just, wow, just kind of random? And a lot of times people think WWW stands for like Wild Wild Web. It doesn't have to be like that. A process for everything in life, in love, and in business is really important for success, overall success.
Okay, well, more to come. We hope you'll join us for future episodes, and we'll get into granular detail on every one of those points with many great ideas for you to use and to turn into hopefully profit and benefit for your organization.
Exactly.
Right?